Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gifts, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Oh, look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee? I don't drink coffee.
You sure? It's cultist coffee.
What makes it cultist coffee?
I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it.
Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Work better. There we go. Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good to see you. I hope everyone is feeling really good this morning. I am. Welcome to my home. Welcome to the office. Welcome to the morning grind. I'm feeling like it's going to be a very productive day. I feel like there's going to be a lot of great stuff happening here. Let's see. We got Zero the Blade here. Good morning. Robert is here. Good morning. Robert says, still grinding away. Game now includes descriptions of either monsters or characters preparing to attack, the combat log, and then describes what happens from the combat log. Lots of debugging going on. Lynn says, good morning. Good morning, Lynn. We've got Jason here. Good morning. PH says, good morning, but it is his kid's birthday. He says, today is my kid's birthday, 4 years old. I won't be able to stay. Have a great conversation, guys. See you on Discord and possibly on Wednesday. Well, here, let's take a happy birthday. Happy birthday to PH's 4-year-old. Here's to you. Here we go. Hopefully you were here for that, PH. Happy birthday to him. Good morning, Mike. Let's see. So today, where did I put that? Oh, right here. I got lots of stuff sitting around here today. we're continuing with Advanced HeroQuest. We're moving further along into it. We are now into, let's see, if we're talking about physically right here. Yeah. It's a big book. We've been through all of this. We have this to go right here. So here we go. We're going to be talking about in between expeditions and playing campaigns and seeing what it has to say about that. And we'll just see how far we want to go today. I am sitting here. I've got freshly picked muscadines over here. This has been dinner and breakfast this morning. So muscadines, actually, these came from the vineyard yesterday. So I've been enjoying some muscadines, very classic Southern fruit here. What's been going on? Well, I have really, in the evenings, I've been continuing to work on that music video that I kind of previewed with Brianna and Doug. Was that Tuesday? That's taken a longer time than I thought. It's really great. It's really good. It's one of my favorite videos that I've made, especially at least regarding the cultists, but possibly ever really. I've been watching it a lot and listening to the music quite a bit. But the production of the music video is taking a while. So I've been working on that, and I mean, I really thought I'd be finished with it by now. But it's so good, I want to do a good job. So I'm keeping going with that. That's mainly what I've been working for in the evenings. We did set up a new landing page for the cultists. Just one second. I thought things looked dark. Okay, so now, rear light now activated. So we set up a new landing page for the cultists, and I've been very pleased with the kind of traction that the cultist has been getting. Let's see. Let me check the YouTube stats right now, just as far as how is the cultist going. The cultists have gotten 456 views. That channel has gotten 456 views in the last 48 hours, which to me is pretty good. It's pretty good for the cultists. 456 views. And I noticed the subscribers actually increased. 2,604 subscribers. So I think the cultist is getting noticed. Because we need some type of methodology here to be able to produce web shows and talk about and create new stories and things and get them watched and, I don't know, contribute to independent media, right? So that's what's been going on. I have a feeling over the next 2 days, I'm going to be working here at the office the next 2 days. And as always, I have to clean the house. But I'm expecting a lot of great work to be done this over the next 48 hours. I'm not sure what our topic of conversation for Table Talk on Tuesday is going to be. I've got to talk to Doug about that. But I am going to be working with Sherry Lee tomorrow because there are a lot of Table Talk clips on the Table Talk channel that are ready to be released, but just have not been able to be scheduled yet. So Sherry Lee and I are working tomorrow morning for at least a couple of hours to try to get clips out on the Table Talk YouTube channel. A lot of which Brianna made a bunch of thumbnails, and so there are things the clip loaded up into the YouTube channel that have Brianna made thumbnails ready to go, but they just got to be scheduled and go out. So starting, well, probably Tuesday, maybe Monday afternoon on the Table Talk YouTube channel, there will be more clips going out, and I'm going to be making some more thumbnails while Sherry Lee is scheduling them and going out. So we're also going to be working a little bit on the Table Talk channel side of things. So lots going on, but I think very promising. So I hope everybody else is having a productive had a productive week. What is this, already Sunday? And has had a productive weekend. Okay. Let's do our breathe and sip here. I'm experimenting with our collapsible cup. This was one of the types of the potential merch kind of things that was sent. I think I like the hard wall container better. This one is crushable, as I just realized. Fortunately, nothing spilled. But of course, it's crushable because it folds up inside itself. But it's also crushable while you still have drink in it. Nonetheless, it's kind of neat. I'm trying it out. So that's what I've got my beverage in this morning. Let's do the mental health portion of the show, and then let's talk about Advanced HeroQuest. All right, let's go. All right, let's take 2 deep breaths, deep inhales, complete exhales, and then take a sip of our favorite beverage. Here we go. Let's sip. Or let's breathe first. And sip. Ah, very good. Very good. Hopefully you all join me for that. Mike asks, has it collapsed during use yet? Well, no. It almost did, because you got this piece here. This is the flap here. Let's see here. And there's two, I don't know if you can see. There's two holes. There's a hole in the center here, and then there's the drinking hole. And I accidentally pulled the plastic flap out. There we go. So you can close the drink. There we go. And open it like that. And there we go. But it does. So it's got that rubber piece is in that center hole there. Well, I accidentally pulled the whole thing out, and I tried to put it back in while sitting here on my table. So of course, or my desk. So when I pushed down, it started to collapse there. But it doesn't collapse during general use. Excuse me. James Bacon says, "Oh, PH, your kid has the same birthday as me, and you're also 4 years old in age. Oh, today's your birthday, Bacon? Well, we should have a drink to James Bacon right here. Let's drink to him. James, here is your sip. Happy birthday to all birthdays today, but especially to PH's child and to James Bacon." There we go. Happy birthday. All right. Oh, I didn't get a piece of paper to take notes. All right, got it now. I don't feel like we took a lot of notes last time. That's okay. Sometimes there isn't. Hey, Nicholas. Now, have we seen you in the chat before, Nicholas? Good morning, Nicholas. There we go. Good morning, Nicholas. Good to see you. Welcome to the chat. Hey, we should do a sip to Nicholas, since that's the first time I remember seeing him in chat. Good morning. Here we go. Here's to you. Good morning. All right, let me bring up our rule book. There we go. And let's see. Okay. Oh, Gamers Quest says that's me. Oh, must not have moved over to the to a different YouTube channel. Accidentally outed yourself. I thought we had somebody new here. But hey, we've got Gamers Quest here too. Good morning, Gamers Quest. Great to have you here this morning. All right. So we are actually now talking about between expeditions here. One thing I want to evaluate and talk about, which it may not actually be in here in Advanced HeroQuest, but I want to talk about getting to the dungeon. We need really good mechanics for that. Getting to the dungeon. Because I think that's an important part, but I'm trying to think about this in terms of the length of a game. Like if you're going to sit down, you're going to play a game for 3 hours. How much of that time do you want to spend getting to your dungeon? And how much of that do you want to play actually in the dungeon? Well, I would say the vast majority of that needs to be in the dungeon. So you could say, all right, so we're just going to skip over travel to the dungeon. But I think it would be great to have 15 to 20 minutes of interesting and significant things happen getting to the dungeon. Interesting and significant. And those are important words regarding this. How do you have something interesting and significant happen that doesn't happen, that doesn't take up an hour and a half at the table, and actually impacts what's going to happen at the dungeon, or has a significant impact on the dungeon? And we can talk about the impact of random. Like, what is it? Why would we be having random encounters, and should we be having random encounters? But what's the original purpose of a random encounter that would, as you get to the dungeon? I was talking to my brother about this because he was playing Gloomhaven, and he was like, well, Gloomhaven, and I remember this, Gloomhaven has the deck of cards you draw for, like on the road. There's some kind of road encounter. I remember that, and he was talking about it because he's played a lot more Gloomhaven than I have. But he was like, "Yeah, there's the card draw, like for the road." But he says, "Okay, so if something happens to you while you're on the road," he says, "it often really doesn't influence what happens in the dungeon. I mean, you might lose it's a little something or something and whatever." But he was also saying it was like really arbitrary as to like whether or not the benefit or the negative thing helped anyway. The card might be something like as you travel down the road, you see someone who is sick and looks like they need help. Do you help them? Okay, well, there's no way of knowing whether or not you should help them or not. I mean, you could help them because and it turns out that you could say, yes, I will help them. And it could be that, if you don't help them, just continue on your way. Okay. And if you say yes, then, they could be genuinely in need of help and reward you in some way, or it could be a trap and you get mugged. And he was saying, well, there was no context there that would actually help you make a decision. It was just kind of random. About whether or not you had made there was no way to kind of make a right decision. So don't know. It needs to be more than that. It needs to be more than that. So, and who knows? That may end up being something we have to innovate on. I think this is going to be after HeroQuest, like we're about to talk about here in Advanced HeroQuest. But nonetheless, that part of between playing in a dungeon seems important to me. Mike says getting to the dungeon like traveling mechanics. Right, yeah. And there's something more hazardous about going to dungeons further away or in more hazardous areas or something like that. Gamer's Quest says Advanced HeroQuest between quest rules were some of the first homebrew rules I introduced into my games of HeroQuest. I didn't play Advanced HeroQuest, but I liked in between quests enough to port them back into HeroQuest. Because there isn't a whole lot to do in original HeroQuest between quests. You just purchase items and equipment, right? So there's going to be more here, but it actually may end up being too much. It may end up being too much between quests. Gamer's Quest says you get sick and start the next scenario with -1 health. If that's significant, and and by significant, I'm also talking about a significant choice. Let's focus on interesting and significant, specifically related to player choice. I guess that's the point I was trying to make, and my brother was trying to make regarding some of the cards in Gloomhaven. That, okay, do you help the guy who looks sick at the side of the road? He was like, well, it's probably not going to have a huge impact either way. And there's no real way, I mean, for me to know from the context about what the right answer is. Oh, you actually did this right or you did this wrong. Whether or not it's a trap or whether it's something genuine is just something on the back of the card. He was like, it's just flip. If you decide to do it, flip a coin and see whether or not it's good or bad. So that is not. So the cards provide some flavor on your journey. They're short, but I would say, I think what he was saying is that those cards provide choices, or at least in the one example he was giving me, that were neither interesting nor particularly significant. So, right, yeah, exactly. So Gamer's Quest was going that exactly. My quote is an example of the random nature of some of those events. Yeah, exactly. So, this might be an area for innovation. We're going to see, because it can't be too much. Because like you can get really deep into traveling mechanics, and in some role-playing games you might, and you might spend 2 hours, hour and a half or 2 hours getting to the dungeon. But if you're not, but if you only have 3 hours to play the game, like, I mean, I'm thinking about a game where, all right, we're getting together to play, like you actually want to play in the dungeon. But right, Mike says, not random, but intentional, interesting, and contextual choice. Right. Yes. That's the challenge. That is exactly the challenge. Okay. So if there are games to look at that have that kind of mechanic that we might be able to look at, we should. So that in a sense, that's between expeditions, or that's starting an expedition. But let's see what Advanced HeroQuest says over here. Advanced HeroQuest says, each part of a quest is accomplished over one or more expeditions. An expedition begins when the heroes are placed on the first stairway section, and ends when the last surviving one of them ascends the stairway that leads out of the dungeon, though individual heroes can have left the dungeon in expeditions before that. You should keep a running record of how many expeditions each hero has been on during a quest. If the gods smiled on them during their last expedition, the heroes may have found treasure and maybe even a magic item or two, and they have had a chance to rest and recuperate long before the expedition. To represent the time spent between expeditions, play through the following sequence. Okay, so here is our in-between expedition sequence. Discard unused dungeon counters. Accept character monster counters. I think that's on the Game Master side. Recover fate points and wounds. Gain fate points for recover fate points and wounds. Okay, so you don't have to suffer that damage between quests. Gain fate points for recovered quests, for recovered treasures, rather. Divide up other treasure. Pay henchmen and cost of living expenses. Roll for random events. Spend gold on training, equipment, spells, and spell components. Attract or hire new henchmen. Embark on next expedition. So we're going to have random events. I think this was also a part of Shadows of Brimstone, which is one of the games we're going to look at in this context. Bacon, I'm still interested in your analysis of this as role-playing. I didn't get to watch all of that episode, even though I watched quite a bit of it. Because this I noticed when James Bacon was talking about what is role-playing on his channel. This at the bottom of this does say rules for heroic role-play. That's what Advanced HeroQuest says on the cover. Rules for heroic role-play. Although it seems like in HeroQuest and Advanced HeroQuest, you're not really trying to... We don't really talk too much about getting into the mind of your hero and telling a story, being real narrative. And I don't try that with the nephews when we're playing HeroQuest either. I mean, the nephews, when we're playing HeroQuest, none of them, we're not narrative role-playing when we do that. Fate points and wounds. Heroes and henchmen recover any fate points and wounds lost or spent during the expedition. Each hero will increase... Okay, I guess we're stepping through each one of these. Each hero will increase his fate point characteristic if a quest treasure was recovered on that expedition, a reward from the gods for their victory. Okay, so if you get the quest treasure, you get an additional fate point. The number of fate points received depends on how long it took to recover the treasure. Check how many expeditions each individual hero has been on during the quest. Okay, so a quest is different from an expedition. I noticed we had that difference in terminology down here too, because we say it said you should keep a running record of how many expeditions each hero has been on during a quest. Okay, so I am pouring drink out of this. Let me try. I'm trying to sip, and I'm pouring drink out of it somehow. Okay, it didn't do it that time. I think that's because my thumb was on the soft part of this cup, which was pressing in the soft part of the cup. So when I drink, water or the drink pours out of the cup. So you have to continue. You have to hold the hard part, the hard plastic part of this cup. I'm saying collapsible cups are a no-go. Because I don't have to pay that much attention to how I'm holding my cup in order to not pour it all over myself. Okay. So quest is different from expeditions. A quest may be made up of multiple expeditions. A number of fate points received depends on how long it took to recover the treasure. Check how many expeditions each individual hero has been on during the quest. Consult the table below and award the indicated number of fate points. So number of expeditions heroes have made to the dungeon. Oh, no. Okay, I thought this was having to do with, if this was a multi-expedition quest. That was going to take, like, it was going to take several expeditions in order to recover a treasure. That's not what this is at all. This is how many tries did it take to get it out of there. So if you recover the quest treasure in only one expedition, then you get 2 fate points. If it takes you 2 to 3 expeditions to get it out, you get 1. If it takes 4 or more, you get 0. Okay, so that's like, it's based on how many tries you take. Treasure. The players can now divide up other treasure recovered from the dungeon. Gold crowns must be divided equally. Other treasure may be allocated as the players see fit. If they cannot agree who should get what, they should each roll a die, with the highest having the first choice. Note that once the gold crowns are shared out, each hero can do with his share as he pleases, including loading or giving it to other players. Getting the treasure out, and also a wounded hero, it looks like. The cost of living. Mike says, you might look at League of Dungeoneers for this type of game as well. I put in a link to the overview video in Discord. Was League of Dungeoneers the one that... someone was talking about? Who was it? Was it Inner Light? I bet. Okay, I got it right here. I think this one was. Okay, I'll watch that video later. I think that Inner Light was talking about League of Dungeoneers. So I think we probably should take a look at it. Okay, cost of living. Thank you, Mike. So that's in the Discord server. Oh, now would actually probably be a good time. I'll just drop the link to the Discord server. Whoop. All right. Ravenkeep Discord server. So, okay, so you have to pay cost of living. Oh, and wills. I knew at some point we were going to get to a will, and I was thinking, okay, I think this is when it's probably too much. So cost of living. Next, the players must pay their henchmen and their cost of living expenses as detailed on the cost of living table. Cost of living has priority over other transactions. Players who cannot afford to pay their cost of living must record the amount they haven't paid on their character sheet and pay off any debts as soon as they possibly can. Purchase. Henchmen who are not paid will leave the hero's employ. Do we need to be concerned about cost of living? So cost of living table down here. So cost of living is 10. Oh, the more fate points you've got, the more you... So your cost of living is 10 gold crowns plus 5 gold crowns. In order to maintain henchmen, men-at-arms will be 35 gold. A sergeant will be 75 gold. Fee to moneylender is 5 gold crowns. To make or alter a will is 25 gold crowns. To transfer money in accordance with a will is 20 gold crowns. This seems too much. Oh, Gamer's Quest says League of Dungeoneers, from my understanding, is very inspired by and similar to Warhammer Quest. Well, maybe then, like, so it seems like with our analysis of these different games, we started with HeroQuest, moved into Advanced HeroQuest, which we're looking at now. It seems like the Warhammer Quest revision of that, and then I was saying off of Warhammer Quest comes Shadows of Brimstone, and then now we also have this potential for League of Dungeoneers. So it seems like we definitely should take a look at it. So let's see, money lenders and wills. Heroes cannot carry with them, no more than 250 gold crowns per hero and henchman. So they'll have to find somewhere safe to store any money they don't spend between expeditions. They can leave their money in their lodging. This is free, and the money won't be subject to tithes, but there's a chance that it might be stolen. Alternatively, they can take money to a money lender who will bank their spare cash for a small fee of 5 gold crowns paid after every expedition. The drawback are that tithes and the fact the money isn't so easy the tithes and the fact that the money isn't so easy to get to if the hero dies. Money belonging to a dead hero that is kept in his lodging may simply be shared out among other heroes. If it's banked with a moneylender, other heroes only have access to it if the hero has made a will. Okay. The will names one or more of the hero companions who will receive any money he has banked with a moneylender upon his death. If the other heroes are dead too, the fortunate moneylender gets to keep the hero's cash. A fee of 20 gold crowns is levied upon the execution of a will, so if the hero had less than 20 gold crowns, his companions get nothing. What do we think about that? I don't know. It kind of seems like a lot to me. Like, yes, it's extra crunch, but let's see. All right, so random events. See, that seems like something that could be dispensed with. Actually, I guess what's happening here is it's keeping you from keeping the money. It's giving you a penalty for death. Or okay, I start a new hero. Do I get what my last hero had? No, you don't, because that's got to go to somebody else. Mike says, seems like a lot to me too. Yeah. I guess it's functioning as some kind of death penalty. And so some of this gold, you don't get to just spend the gold. You got to spend it in cost of living. All right, everybody, send me cost of living. That also kind of sounds like something that could be dispensed with in a game like this, especially if you're doing some kind of like West Marches kind of thing. Like, okay, you can live cheap. You're out in the wilderness on the edge of civilization. I don't know. Probably not necessary. Okay, then the game master rolls 2 dice and refers to the random events table. If a random event is rolled, its effects must be resolved immediately. So 2 to 4 is no event. This is 2d12. 5 is illness. One of the heroes, decide randomly, is struck by an illness. Unless he visits a healer and pays 100 gold crowns, he has to miss the next expedition. Whoa. So pay 100 gold coins or miss the next expedition. I guess I haven't seen anything in this game that's going to tell you you're supposed to have like a stable of heroes. I mean, I would hate to have something in the game that requires the player to actually not be able to participate in the next expedition. If the player has a stable of heroes, then okay, they got to send somebody else out. But still, that's for a random roll. Does that mean a player has to sit out, or does that just mean that particular character has to sit out? What if they really like that character? And something bad, so that they have to not play that character for nothing that has to do with their choice, just has to do with this random roll. 6, injury. A nagging reminder of the previous expedition is causing a random hero pain. Roll 3 damage dice against starting toughness, and that many wounds are lost before the expedition starts. Joel says, it is certainly neat, but it does not sound like fun. It feels more like an estate tax simulation than an adventure game. It has to do with the cost of living and the wills. Yeah. And you know, I don't really think about that when I think about fantasy adventuring. They weren't doing that in Lord of the Rings, right? Trouble with the law. If any hero is carrying Greek fire, the local watch takes exception to the fire risk. Each hero with Greek fire is fined 30 gold coins per flask. Gratitude. The locals have collected 50 gold coins and thanks for the monsters you have killed so far. Okay. Tithe. Pay 10% rounded up of all the money banked. Tithe. Pay 10% of all the money banked with a money lender as a tithe to the city fathers. 10. Replace weapons. A randomly selected hero has found one of his non-magical weapons to be damaged. He must pay to replace the most expensive weapon he owns or lose that weapon. So there's weapon damage on the random table. The randomly selected hero has to replace his most expensive weapon. 11. Robbery. All money left in the lodgings is stolen. 12 to 13 is no event. 14, pickpocket. A random hero loses 25% round down of the gold he carries. not in lodgings or banked. So you got to figure out where your money is. There are 3 possible places your money could be: at the money lender, banked with the money lender. That's number 1. In your lodgings. That's number 2. Or on your person. And you got to know that, because that's 25% of everything that's being carried. 15, henchman retires. A random henchman takes his pay and retires. 16, man-at-arms. A man-at-arms offers his service to a random hero free of charge for 1 expedition. 17, jealous ruler. The city's ruler demands the gift of a random magic item from a random hero. The chosen hero cannot refuse, so you lose a magic item. 18, preparedness. Your last visit cost the monster's defeat. The last visit cost the monsters dear. They are determined to be better prepared next time. The GM may start this expedition with 2 dungeon counters. 19, risk money. For each henchman who died during the last expedition, all henchmen currently in employment with the hero demand an immediate risk bonus equal to their pay. You must pay this or lose them. So for each henchman who died on the last expedition, all henchmen currently in employment with the hero, heroes, plural, demand an immediate risk bonus equal to their pay. 20, it doesn't pay to be famous. From now on, all cost of living expenses are doubled. 21, map for sale. The GM must offer you a treasure map for 400 gold coins. So, okay, so those you roll on, and there's no choice. Okay, something's going to happen to you. It could be bad. It could be good. It seems like a lot of those things were bad. Yeah, this thing leaks. And there's no choice. You just roll and something happens to you. So even unlike the Gloomhaven cards, there isn't even insignificant choice. Spending gold. The players may spend any remaining gold crowns on equipment, spells, spell components, and training. The cost of these is shown on the cost table. As you buy new equipment and increase characteristics, remember to modify your character sheet appropriately. The campaign section contains all the information you need to modify character sheets, but a few notes are included here. Increasing weapon skill improves the hero's hand-to-hand hit roll. Refer to the hand-to-hand hit roll table and modify the character sheet accordingly. Increasing bow skill improves the hero's ranged weapon hit roll. Okay, so you can modify your stats with gold. Note that armor reduces the hero's current bow skill and will thus also change his ranged weapon to hit roll. Increasing strength modifier modifies the number of damage dice the hero rolls for hit with a hand-to-hand weapon. Refer to damage dice table and modify the character sheet accordingly. A hero may only train to increase 1 character point after each expedition. So you're using, that's kind of gold as experience. A hero may only train to increase, okay, so weapon skill and bow skill may be increased to a maximum of 12. After the first 2 points of increase, the cost doubles for each point. The third costs 400 gold coins, the fourth costs 800, and so on. Strength, toughness, speed, bravery, intelligence, and wounds may only be increased by 2 points. These characteristics may be taken beyond the 2-point increase by magic weapons, armor, potions, and so forth, or by the use of spells. None of them may ever increase beyond 12, whatever the cause. Fate points, they can also be increased. Fate points can also be increased to any level at a cost of 1,000 gold coins per point. Rather than training, this represents the hero making an offering to the gods, making a hecatomb. Learned that from the Iliad. I've been trying to read the Odyssey, by the way, so I've been going through or listening to it. I'm listening to the Ian McKellen copy of reading of the Odyssey, and it's good, but twice I have tried to get through this, and I have put it down when the son of Odysseus is talking to Menelaus. So I got to power through that. That way we can talk about it on the table talk. So anyway, so you spend 1,000 gold coins, and you make your hecatomb to the gods, and you get a fate point. All right, new equipment. So that is very much gold as experience. And now there's something in my drink. All right, that's just a failure. New equipment. Armor modifies the character's current toughness, bow skill, and speed. It does not change his starting level, as these represent natural ability without armor. A hero may remove armor during the game, which will take 1 exploration turn. If a hero removes his armor, modify his current toughness, bow skill, and weapon speed as appropriate. How often do they actually remove their armor? I mean, maybe if you find new armor, I guess that's the reason. You would find new armor, and then you're going to take an expedition turn to take off armor, and then another expedition turn to put it back on. New weapons may have different effects to old ones. The old ones. Magic weapons discovered in the dungeon certainly will. If the GM will tell the hero players the effects of any magic items they have. The GM will tell the hero player any effects of magic items they may have. Modify the character sheet accordingly. A hero can have up to 3 weapons, but they may only use 1 at a time. You may change weapons at the start of any exploration turn. Other items of equipment may be purchased for use on the hero's explorations. These generally include useful adventuring items such as rope and iron spikes, as well as items with more specific use such as Greek fire and rat poison. Yes. Isn't a hecatomb 100 oxen? I think it is, yes. So that would mean you get 1 ox for 10 gold. Yeah, if that's true. I bet it doesn't actually have ox in here. A dagger or spear is 10 gold coins. So is a dagger or spear worth an oxen? Probably not. Spells and spells components. A wizard hero may pay a tuition fee to another wizard of his college in order to master a new spell. The learned magician trains the wizard on the right incantations, the ritual movements and gestures, and the appropriate use of arcane components. The wizard should mark his spell book that he is now capable of casting new spells, and he can use it in any future expeditions, provided he has the relevant spell components. A wizard may only learn 1 new spell after each expedition. Although each spell component costs the same amount, the type of component required differs from spell to spell. We saw that. At the start of an expedition, the wizard must mark down on his character sheet which components he is carrying so it's clear which spells he is able to cast. Healing. A hero can visit a healer between expeditions and have his ailments cured by magic. Healers aren't cheap, but they do have some very powerful spells. A healer is able to remove diseases, restore limbs that have been cut off, and we saw that last time we were discussing that you can suffer catastrophic amputation. Mainly through traps. It was the trap mechanics that would do that to you. It wasn't general combat. It was certain trap rolls. And even resurrect the dead, provided the corpse is supplied. The effect of the healing magic will restore an injured hero to how he was before the damage was caused. A hero may also buy 1 or more of the healing potions from a healer. These curative brews are specially prepared with the help of an alchemist, storing some of the healer's power in a magical liquid. When a healing potion is drunk, it will restore the hero's wounds to their starting level at the beginning of the next turn. A healing potion will not restore a dead hero. So we got the table here that's saying that the training to increase a characteristic by 1 point is 200 gold coins. It increases the more you do, though. Increase fate points by 1 point, 1,000. Shields are 10 gold coins, leather armor 25, chain armor 50, plate armor 200, mithril armor 400. Daggers and spears 10 gold coins, sword, axe, or warhammer 25 gold coins, two-handed sword or axe or halberd 50. Short bow and 6 arrows. They're big on the 6 arrows. Short bow and 6 arrows is 20 gold coins. Bow and 6 arrows, 25. Long bow and 6 arrows, 50. But you can also get 6 arrows for 10 gold coins. Load up. Crossbow and 6 bolts for 40. 6 crossbow bolts for 10. You can get 10 feet of rope, 10 iron spikes, Greek fire flasks, rat poison, and the screech bug. Costs of spells, courage 100, flaming hand of destruction 175, flight 100, the bright key 250. Spell components are 25 gold coins each. So that's a cost to the wizard, right? So you've got to have the spell components or you're not going to be able to cast. So actually one of the first things the wizard would probably do after paying his cost of living is to buy 25 gold coin chunks. It costs 100 gold coins to remove disease, 500 gold coins to restore a lost limb, 1,000 gold coins to resurrect a dead hero. You have to have the body, and healing potions are 50 gold coins. Hey, that's kind of like an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So go ahead and get the healing potion for 50 gold coins. Otherwise, you're going to be spending 1,000 gold coins to resurrect the dead hero. Makes healing potions look cheap. So you can have henchmen here. But I mean, okay, so that's things you buy with your gold between quests. There's basically like a tax that's your cost of living. So you're going to be deducted some of your gold just for cost of living. Then something random is going to happen to you, and then you spend your gold, the remaining gold, kind of as experience points to increase even your core statistics through training and get equipment. So that's how you level up. You're doing it kind of GURPS style. You know, you got these points. The gold coins are basically points that you can spend to kind of freely level up your hero. Oh, I want more bow skill. Oh, I want more weapon skill. No, I want more strength. So there's a lot of flexibility in that. When a hero returns to a town after an expedition, the fame of his exploits begin to spread. If he's been particularly successful, his name is heard far and wide, and tales of his adventures are related in taverns and around campfires across the land. Some of those that hear the tales are so impressed by the adventurer's heroic qualities that he will seek to join them, hoping to share in his glory. These are henchmen. There are different types of henchmen. Some are eagerly young warriors seeking to make them old hands skilled in the arts of war. Others are specialists with unusual skills. In this book, we've given rules for men-at-arms who are trained foot soldiers and sergeants who are more experienced fighters. There are two ways to get henchmen. Some will automatically join the heroes as he becomes more powerful and his fame spreads. Others may be hired to fight in the dungeons for gold. We saw that you could get one randomly through a random encounter. Let's see. Why don't I move over to a more reliable vessel? Each time a hero gains a fate point. Oh, each time. So this is another benefit for a fate point. And also why your cost of living. Well, no, I think the henchman's upkeep is paid separately. But each time a hero gains a fate point, he also attracts a man-at-arms. Fate points are gained if a hero completes part of a quest in a small number of expeditions. So a hero earns fate. So a hero who earns fate points is obviously successful and heroic, exactly the qualities that attract followers. A hero doesn't have to accept a henchman when he earns a fate point. If he turns a henchman down, however, he doesn't get another chance until he earns another fate point. Even though the hero attracts the henchman for nothing, he must still pay them 35 gold coins between expeditions, or they will leave. Hiring henchmen. Henchmen may also be hired by a hero between expeditions. Any hero with enough gold crowns may hire one or more henchmen, regardless of any fate points he earned. A hero may hire men-at-arms for 50 gold crowns each and sergeants for 100 gold crowns each. The only restriction is the amount of gold he wishes to spend. A hero who has attracted a man-at-arms through earning a fate point can still hire additional henchmen. So you might have a lot of these things. Like, so if you all generate two, like let's say you go on a successful expedition for your quest, you return the quest item, everybody gets 2 fate points, which seems like a big deal. That would mean, well, okay, so what does this mean? It says each time the hero gains a fate point, he also attracts man-at-arms. If you gain 2 after an expedition, does that mean that you gain 2 henchmen? And if you've got 4 heroes and they all gain 2 fate points, does that mean that you're going to have 8 henchmen? Party of 12? Going into the next one? That seems really powerful. Or does that mean that everybody only gets 1 free? Those are the kind of questions that come up. And then you could hire more, so you could have a ton of these henchmen walking around. Wait, that's how it reads to me. So wait, which way? That you get 2? If you get 2 fate points, you get 2 henchmen. I mean, that would go with the legacy of, okay, heroic fate. Okay, you got 2 fate points, so you attract a lot of henchmen. Yeah, James is saying that's the way it reads to me, that you get 2. That's a lot. That's a lot. So henchmen are going to be a major part of this game. Your henchmen are going to be majorly outnumbering your heroes. I'm gonna have to think about how that goes, because I think it's fine. Some people want to have a pet or something that follows you around, or maybe there's a henchman. But it seems like if you're basically like a small army going into the dungeon. Your next time out. Then you embark on the next trip. The heroes are now ready for the next expedition. If they return to a previously entered dungeon, they may start from the bottom of any stairs they found leading out. Should any of the heroes have been killed on the last trip, players can bring new ones. Obviously, these new heroes have none of the treasure, weapons, or armor of the last hero. They start from scratch unless loaned cash or equipment by other players. You can use a direct replacement for the lost hero or use the campaign rules to generate a new one. A hero can hire a sergeant at a cost of 100 gold crowns. Bacon says, it says each time, not every time. If it said every time, it would only happen once, no matter how many fate points are awarded. Because it says each, it reads like the intention was once per point. Yeah, I'm with you there. I think I would still provide additional clarification there if I were writing the rules. But I think I agree with that. Other than it seems like that gives you a lot of these guys. So you can hire a sergeant for 100 gold coins. You may also swap 2 men-at-arms for a sergeant. Well, okay, so maybe if you get 2 fate points and you attract 2 men-at-arms, you can get a sergeant instead. Maybe that's the intention. So rather than taking, the small army down there, maybe you get better guys. So maybe that's why. Okay, everybody gets 2 fate points. Well, rather than taking the small army down, although you could, I guess, maybe you decide to take a smaller number of better guys. These men-at-arms can be hired or attracted followers, and there's no extra cost to make the swap in either case. The swap may be made between any expedition. The hero can change 2 men-at-arms for a sergeant as soon as he gets them, or he can wait a couple of expeditions before swapping them. As well as costing more to hire, sergeants cost more to maintain and must pay 75 gold crowns between expeditions, but they are better and more experienced warriors. To avoid confusion, it's best to use different types of models to represent sergeants. Any of the models from the Citadel range of fighters are appropriate. They can be painted with the heraldry of the hero who they follow to show their allegiance. So here is human sergeant versus man-at-arms. So man-at-arms weapon skill 7, sergeant weapon skill 8, bow skill 7 versus 6, strength 6 in both cases. The sergeant is also tougher. 7 versus 6. This is before equipment's applied. Speed, the sergeant is faster as well. They've got equal bravery, equal intelligence. Oh, the sergeant has a fate point, whereas the man-at-arms does not, and they both have 3 wounds. So Mike says, I think the action economy of the game favors more henchmen than somewhat better ones, but I'm not sure. It kind of seems like that to me. It's because the more henchmen you've got, the more attacks you're going to be rolling, right? So it seems like you'd want to increase the number of attacks rolled. I could be wrong because I haven't played this, but yeah, I think that seems right to me. If you gave me the choice, do you want to take? Okay, guys, do we want to take 8 henchmen in or 4? 8 men-at-arms in or 4 sergeants? All right, we're going. We want to roll the attacks, especially since we know that you get a 12. So I guess they're going to be doing extra attacks on 12 as well. You'd want to throw more dice to try to get the extra attacks if you hit the 12 and then the critical hits. Maybe because we talked about how achieving a critical hit does not depend on skill. If the sergeant comes with a fate point, does that mean he gets his own man-at-arms? I bet that a henchman, James is just being silly. I was like, I bet that, and this probably says a hero anyway over here. Each time a hero gains a fate point. Yeah. I would say just because he starts with a fate point, but this specifically says a hero gains a fate point. So they did close that loop. They did close that loop. All right, let's see what's going on with campaigns. Then we get to alternative monsters. Okay, let's see what it says about campaigns before we leave. Let's see. Okay, one of the most important aspects of Advanced HeroQuest is the campaign. The basic idea of a campaign is that the players keep using the same heroes in different quests, making their heroes more and more powerful as they go from adventure to adventure. So when you've finished your first quest, you're really only just beginning. When you start playing a new quest, it's a great idea to have someone else be the game master. When you start playing a new quest, it's a good idea to have somebody else be the game master. This prevents it becoming a one player against the rest all the time and allows different people to throw in their ideas. If players want to use their heroes again, either two players could be prepared to share a hero, or the other three heroes will have to go on the next quest with a new comrade, creating new heroes as explained later. So you can cycle a new one in. Of course, you don't have to use the same heroes if you don't want to. You can retire a hero at any time. He drops out of the campaign, taking all of his gold, equipment, and magical treasure with him. And if you want to bring him back for a while, then you can simply get out your old character sheet and start playing again. Each player can have more than one hero if he wants, though it's not a good idea to use more than one at a time. Okay, so that's kind of the stable idea. So each player can have more than one hero if he wants, though it's not a good idea to use more than one at a time. You bring one out for a game. You should keep playing the same hero for the whole of the quest, but you can swap for another hero between quests. Heroic Legends. When you're playing a campaign, it's a good idea to keep a record of the quest your hero has undertaken. You can even write this up as a continuous legend, adding new adventures each time your hero finishes another quest. Write down his most spectacular fights, his closest escapes, the great treasure he's found, the terrible monster he's slain. Using your hero's legend, you can give him additional names. Your warrior might begin life as Albrecht. If he kills a troll, you could name him Albrecht Trollbane. If in a later adventure he kills a demon, he could become Albrecht Demon Slayer or Albrecht the Mighty. All great heroes have a heroic nickname that reminds the world of their exploits and to throw fear into the hearts of their enemies. All great heroes also have a heraldic emblem which they paint on their shields and cloaks, and which is often painted onto the shields of their henchmen. This is to show the hero is proud of his renown, not scared to announce who he is, and lets his enemies know who they're fighting. Again, you can use the hero's adventure to guide your ideas for a heraldic emblem. Perhaps he found a rune axe, which he now wields to great effect. His emblem could be an axe, possibly with runes drawn around the outside. Perhaps he destroyed a skeleton king. His emblem could be a skull or two crossed bones. The hero's character sheet has a space for you to draw the hero's emblem, which should be painted onto the hero's model shield, cloak, or tunic to show who the model represents. And if your hero gets new armor or weapons, you can pick the Citadel miniature that closely resembles your hero and paint it up in the correct colors. Okay, nuts and bolts. If you understand how Advanced HeroQuest works, you will find it much easier to design your own adventures. At the heart of it, the game has a system that allows you to generate dungeons as you play. This is the function of the exploration turns. The combat system allows for quick, exciting battles between heroes and monsters. The first thing to think about when designing an adventure is the nature of the hero's quest. This is the story that explains why they are fighting down in a particular dungeon and links separate dungeons together. In the quest for the Shattered Amulet, for example, the story is the heroes are searching for this 4 lost parts of Solican's amulet, which are being held by the Skaven. From this, you can decide what monsters should be living in the dungeon and what quest treasures are going to be. In the quest for the Shattered Amulet, the monsters are obviously going to be Skaven, and the new quest treasures are going to be the 4 fragments of the amulet itself. Once you've decided what your quest is going to be, you can choose what dungeon layout you'll use. How many levels will the dungeon have? Perhaps it's a small dungeon with 1 level with only a single quest room and no stairs down. Perhaps it's a huge dungeon with a dozen levels where the monsters get more powerful as the heroes delve beneath the surface. There's no limit to the number of rooms, hazards, or layers that can be created for the dungeon, although occasionally the dungeon generation table will close off a dungeon by providing no more unopened doors or unexplored junctions. Nor is there any limit to the number of quest rooms that could appear, though you may decide not all of them have a special purpose. For instance, in the quest for the Shattered Amulet, the first quest room found on each level leads down to the next level, and the third level is already designed and mapped. Other quest rooms that are found don't contain stairs down. All right. So you can change things around for any adventure you design so that events can happen in a different order. For example, you could have a game with 3 hostages are being held in a dungeon. The adventure you invent around this rule might be that 1 hostage will be found in each of the 3 layers encountered. And the quest rooms will contain wizard laboratories, centers of diabolical research. You can choose to arrange things so that few or no rooms are empty by creating a monster table for ordinary rooms, or you can space everything out, creating the possibility of long chases through empty passages and rooms. Naturally, you can also change the treasure that can be found. Use the existing treasure tables as a guide, then invent your own magical items. Okay. Let's see. Is there anything else significant in here? It says if you're designing a large dungeon, you should modify the fate point table so the heroes gain fate points even after going on quite a lot of expeditions. It'll quite obviously take them longer to complete a quest if the dungeons are very large. Alternatively, you can have more than one treasure in the dungeon so they can recover each after a few expeditions. It says once you're thoroughly familiar with designing dungeons, there's no reason why you can't sometimes have a dungeon that has been entirely planned out in advance. In effect, the whole dungeon is a quest location. And you play with more than one group of players, you can always use the expedition map that one group has drawn as a basis of a dungeon for another group. All right. Is there anything else that we need to talk about here? Let's see. So we do have alternative monsters here, which I don't know if we need to go into in great detail, but describing some rules for berserkers, flying monsters, fearsome monsters. Oh, fearsome monsters have to do with bravery. Some monsters are so scary they cause fear in other creatures, even heroes. If a fearsome monster has a hero or henchman in its death zone at the start of a combat phase, that model must be checked for bravery. Roll a die. If a roll is greater than his bravery, the character will cower. If the roll is less than or equal to his bravery, he is unaffected. A model that cowers may not move unless he runs or attacks, but he may open doors. We do have some additional rules for large monsters as well and the spaces they occupy. And then quest ideas. Okay, so generating that. Okay, I'll have to see whether or not we need to continue with some advanced HeroQuest and what kind of rules we need, if there are more rules that we need to go over. I'll look at that before the next stream on Wednesday. We do have creating a hero, so it's not just the pre-generated heroes, but this also does have rules for creating heroes. We might want to take a look at the rules for creating a hero. Oh, and we definitely want to take a look at using the original HeroQuest. So yeah, there will be another stream on this because I forgot this does contain rules for using the original HeroQuest heroes and board, and even the board, but the furniture and things like that in the game, and then also actually playing Advanced HeroQuest on the original board. So I do want to look at how that's done, definitely. Okay, so there will be another day on Advanced HeroQuest. That looks like it needs to be something that, yeah, that'll take longer than we have today. And then, but then we do have the quest for the Shattered Amulet. So there's some quests in here. There's not a separate quest book, but quest for the Shattered Amulet is something that has been pre-designed and put in here, which actually takes a large chunk of the back part of this book. All right, so that's where we are, and that's what we're looking at. So, okay, we'll take a look at how to use the original HeroQuest with Advanced HeroQuest on the next stream, which will be Wednesday here on this channel. Although I'll be talking to Doug, got to talk to him about what we're going to be talking about on Tuesday night. So, all right, everybody, thank you so much for being here with me. Another fantastic conversation, as always. So, all right, I will see everybody in Discord. I'm going to go try to get some work done. Hopefully you do too, or at least have some fun here on Sunday. Please do like the stream if you're here. And if you're new here, I'd love to have you subscribe. And if you have comments, I also read all the comments if you're watching on replay. Welcome to everybody who's here on replay as well. So, all right, everybody, go forth, be creative, be constructive, and grind on. Later, everybody.